Hi guys, and welcome back from Carly at the Herbathicary. Really good to see you guys again. If you're new to the channel or like the videos, please show your support by hitting like and subscribe down below. This is the 6th in our series of Christmas crochet videos, and in today's we will be making a wine glass holder. We've got a couple of different patterns, but this one kind of looks like a Christmas tree using the crocodile stitch pattern. Now once I'm done, I will be adding some little beads to it, or little bells, to make it look more like a Christmas tree. But as you can see, the little petals look quite cute, and we add a strap to this. You will need to be working in multiples of 4 because each of these petals requires 4 chains. I am making mine for a 250ml wine glass, and you need enough chains to fit over the bottom but not completely slide over the whole glass, as you want that bit to hold it. So I started with a chain of 28, which gave me 7 petals. Now I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook and a worsted weight yarn in green. So starting with our slip knot on our hook, we're going to chain 28 or 24 depending on which you prefer, and then we're going to slip stitch to that very first chain. Now at this bit I do like to try and get it over the bottom of the glass to make sure that it fits, and also pull it up to around the neck of the glass to make sure that it doesn't slide completely over. If it's not big enough, you can either add 4 chains or go up a hook size. But this one fits perfectly, so let's get on with our glass holder. Now we're going to do a row of single crochets into these just to make it more secure. So chain 1, and then into that very first hole do your single crochet, and repeat this all the way along until you have 24 single crochets, or in my case 28 single crochets. We are using US terms for this project, so you may know this as a double crochet if you're using UK terms. However, I've always just used US ones, as I find most of my patterns are in US. So once you've got your row of 24 single crochets, we're just going to slip stitch to that very first single crochet that we did. So that's round 1 completed. We're now going to create the posts that our petals are going to work around. So we're going to chain 3, which will count as our first double crochet. We're going to chain 1 as our chain 1 space, and double crochet right back into that same hole that we just came out of. And that's our first set of posts. We're then going to skip 1 stitch and double crochet into the next stitch along. We're then going to chain 1 and double crochet back into that same space. Oh, the sun just came out, how nice. So that's our first set created. We're then going to skip another stitch and double crochet into that next stitch along, chain 1 and double crochet straight back into that same space. Now, as I said, each of the petals will use 2 of these sets, so we're going to continue along until we have 14 double crochet, chain 1 double crochets along. If you've used 24 stitches, then you'll have 12. So continue that along, and I'll see you back at the end. So at the end of round 3, I now have 14 sets, and I'm going to slip stitch to that 3rd chain that we did at the beginning. Now we're going to create those dragon stitches, and we're actually going to be working around those double crochets that we did. But for our first one, we'll actually be working around that chain 3 that we did. So we're going to chain 3 because we're working in double crochets. We're then going to turn our work sideways and go behind that first chain 3 that we did. And we're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to do 5 more, so we technically have 7 in total with that first chain 3. So do 6 double crochets in this one, So if you turn that over, you can actually see what it's going to look like, as that will be the front section you'll see. We're then going to create the little tip on the petal. And to do this, we're going to create a 2-chain picot. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to go in through the top of that last double crochet that we did, and we're going to slip stitch. We're then going to be working around the second post, and to do this we're going to go turn our work around again and go under that second post and do 7 double crochets. So that's our first one, second, so 7 of those in total. And then once we've completed our 7 double crochets, if you turn that flat, you can see that's our first petal or scale completed. Now we want to attach it. So that second set of 2 double crochets that we did, we're going to single crochet in between those 2 in order to secure it. And then we're on to our next one. So into the next set, we're going to go underneath and do 7 double crochets in that one. We're then going to do our 2-chain picot, turn our work and do 7 more double crochets around the second post of our third set of double crochet, chain 1 double crochets. So 6 and 7. Now we're going to secure that one into that fourth set of posts with a single crochet. And then we're going to complete this all along. Now we've got our 2 done until in my case I have 7 of these petals. So I'll meet you guys back at the end and show you how I secure that last one. So I'm just completing my 7th crochet or double crochet in that 7th petal. Now to secure them both, I'm going to catch that 3rd chain of that first chain 3 that we did. So we'll go in through there, and then I'm going to slip stitch all of those through that last set of double crochet, chain 2 or chain 1 double crochets. And now we've completed our first round of petals. So now we're going to build up the section for the next row. So to finish this off, we're basically repeating rounds 3 and 4 until we're happy. So we're going to chain 3 and then chain 1 as our double crochet, chain 1 space. We're then going to double crochet back into that same hole. Then we're going to be working in between or in the middle of the next one. So we're going to double crochet, then chain 1, double crochet back in. Then we're going to be working in between the 2 petals. So we've got our 2 sets of posts here. So we're working in between and in the middle of them. So we're going to double crochet where we did our single crochet of the previous round. So double crochet, chain 1. Now at this point, before I do my chain 1, I do like to make sure that it still fits around and that the petals that I've done fit around the base of the glass. This also gives me a good idea to see how many rows of petals I can fit in on this glass, as I don't want to make it bigger than the glass so that it comes over the top. So that's fitting just perfectly. So I've done 1 double crochet, and I'm going to chain 1 there and then double crochet right back into that same space. We're then going to complete this process all the way along. So it's getting stuck. That's what happens when you use a smaller hook than the yarn requires. So chain 1, double crochet back into that space, and then we're going to continue this process along. So into the space in between, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, until again you have 14 sets of these posts in my case. And then at the end, slip stitch into that 3rd chain and then repeat round 4. So as you see, I've done 2 sets here, and 3 sets here. So I'm just going to slip stitch through that top one, and this will complete my cup holder so far, or my wine glass holder so far. And then we work on the strap. Now, I am making this one for a friend, and she hasn't quite decided how long she'd like it yet. So just to give you an idea of how I do the strap, I am just going to work a small strap to begin with, which I can undo and redo once I know how long she wants it. But I will say I normally go with about 115 stitches. But we'll fit that onto our glass. As you see, it fits snugly, it doesn't come over the top, and it looks very, very cute. I can't wait to give it to her. So before doing the strap, and to make it extra secure, I like to chain one and do 2 single crochets in the gap that is in between each petal, and then straight over to the gap in the middle and do 3 single crochets. And continue this along, so it's 3 single crochets in between, straight into that next gap in between with 2 single crochets. And I do this process all the way along, as it makes it extra secure and gives the strap something firmer to attach to. So we've done 2, 3 single crochets in between, or in the middle. That's only 2 though. I will do 1 more, and then in between the petals with 2 single crochets, and continue this process all the way along until you get back to that chain 1 and slip stitch. And then one last check to make sure that it fits snugly and that it doesn't cover the top of your glass, especially when it's full. Remember, it will stretch a little bit. So nope, that's fitting perfectly, so let's get on with our strap. So we're going to start by chaining as many chains as you want. You can chain a few, check if it's long enough. If not, chain a few more. If it's too long, obviously you don't want it around your belly button. But if you're a lady, you do want to make sure that it does fit in between. We're then going to slip stitch it to the other side. Make sure you folded it in half to make sure that it is even. If you had an odd number of petals like me, if you started in between 2 petals, you'll be slip stitching into the middle of the petal on the opposite side. We're then going to slip stitch over 1 more. And then we're going to turn our work, and we're going to work a row of single crochets up that chain. So remember, don't work into the first slip stitch you did. You go into that last chain that you did before you slip stitch, and we're going to work a row of single crochets all along that chain. So as I said, I've only done a short strap on this one just to give you an idea, but you will need at least 100 chains. So once we get to that last chain that we did, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch along, slip stitch into the next one, turn our work, and then we're just going to slip stitch back up all of those single crochets until we get back to the other side. No, I'm not completing mine as I'm going to undo it, but once you get to the other side, completing your slip stitches, you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch along, and then chain 1, snip your yarn, finish it off, and sew in your ends. And if, like me, you fancy spicing it up a little bit, I've got these really cute little gold and red bells that I'm going to attach to mine, but I'll do that once I know how long she wants her strap. We hope you guys enjoyed this Christmas crochet tutorial. Please comment below if you've given it a go, if you like it, if you'd like any tips. We do love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We are going to be running some Christmas crochet tutorials. If you do subscribe, please come and follow us at the Hook and Knot Nook on Facebook, and we will be giving out one of these free every time we reach a new milestone. And come back for our next tutorial, which is this really cute one in red with the holly berries on top and the little leaves.